You know, there was one particular military outfit that I worked with in Afghanistan, and it was as if everybody in that organization was doing their own thing. Nobody could really come together and get the collective work of the organization done. And as you started to peel the onion back and look at the problem, what we realized was that the leader of that organization, it's a special forces organization, he didn't really have any vision. And if he did have a vision, he hadn't communicated it to the men who were, responsible for executing it to the four corners of that desert that desert realm known as Afghanistan. And it was really striking because that absence of vision led to about 7 or 8 months of just almost negative activity in the country. And it's hard to believe that one man's vision or the absence thereof could have that kind of impact. But since I've retired from the military 5 years now, I see this over and over again, is that vision makes or breaks in so many ways the collective outcomes and outputs of an organization. And this month in January, we're talking about mindset. I'm sure a lot of you watching this have made your New Year's resolutions. Probably more than a few of you have already broken them. There's a lot of studies that show that resolutions tend to not last very long. And I'm not saying that to you because I want to see that happen to you. In fact, I want to see you achieve those things that are bigger than yourself. That's what Rooftop Leadership's all about. However, what I've learned in 20 plus years of Army work and almost that long as a Green Beret, I like to think of myself as a high performer and a coach of high performers from everything from commercial banks to FBI. To really fulfill on your dreams, right? To achieve those things that are bigger than you, you have to have the right mindset. You just have to. And I learned that as a scrawny young man trying out for Special Forces when everybody said I couldn't make it. I learned it in combat, watching some of the greatest leaders in the world do superhuman things. It really comes down to mindset. It really does, right? The things that we accomplish in this world, whether they're with our children, whether they're with our marriage, whether they're with life and business, it comes down to mindset. So I think January is the right month to set that theme. So that's our theme for January. And each week we're going to have a theme that feeds into that. And this week is vision. The story I told you about Afghanistan, about that Special Forces organization that was lacking in vision, it's pervasive. In this day and age, I see this all the time. And what happens is when a unit is lacking or an organization is lacking in vision, you already have the current underneath the earth working against you. We live in a trust-depleted world, and trust is eroding at an epic rate. 2/3 of Americans say they don't trust their neighbors today. And so when you have that kind of trust eroding around our life and business and our organizations, our families, if you don't have vision in place to unify people, they will withdraw to their own in-group. They will circle wagons with people that look like them, believe like them, think like them, and they will declare enemies with anyone who is not like them. This happens in your business. This happens in politics. This happens in your community, right? This happens with kids in middle school. And vision is one of the best leader tools that can bridge those gaps. And as a leader, and you're talking about mindset and you're setting your mindset, it's that vision that you portray outward that will have such a powerful impact in unifying people around you to row and achieve that common vision, right? But it's got to be something that you work at. So how do leaders do that, right? So and I'm all about, for me, it's about looking at things in a fairly simple way, working from the heart and doing the deep work necessary to do that. And so when it comes to vision, there's a couple of things that I'd like you to think about. One is you have an obligation to get clear on your vision. Oxford Analytica did a study of leaders from Alexander the Great all the way to like Ronald Reagan, John F. Kennedy, and leaders who created movements, leaders who moved people to action. They had two things in common: vision and the ability to articulate that vision to others. So we'll talk about that second part later. Right now we're talking about creating that vision. Without it, leadership is dead, right? Without it, movements don't exist. You can't bridge the gaps of trust erosion without vision. So 3 things that I would like you to do to work on vision as you go into 2018. This is critical. 1, you need sacred space. You need sacred space to work on your vision. Like we're sitting out here right now by my fire pit. This is where I train all of my Pathfinder coaching students. It's where I do my own story development work, where I come to work through the trauma of combat. Whatever it is I need to do, I counsel, transitioning veterans out here. This is my sacred space by this river. It's behind the camera. You can't see it, but this is where I go to tap into, the muse, that higher power that helps me do my work and create my vision, right? So having sacred space is absolutely essential. I also have sacred smoke that's kicking my ass. The second thing that I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think deeply about what you're building. What is it that you're building, right, that's going to make a difference in the world? Bo Eason has a quote that I absolutely love, and I use it all the time. He says, "This is what I'm building, help me build it," right? And I have used that with guys from Stephen Pressfield, best-selling author. I've used that, with guys like Chris Crow, who wrote Last of the Mohicans screenplay, who, previewed my book for me, the second edition of Game Changer. Stephen Pressfield wrote my foreword. Why? Because I said to him, "Steve, this is what I'm building. I want to change the game and how we fight violent extremism. Help me build it." And you know what he did? "Scott, I'll help you." And he wrote the foreword. Bo Eason, "Bo, I want to help veterans learn to tell their story. Help me build it." "Scott, I'm going to teach you how to be the best storyteller in the world," right? So think about what you're building and ask people to help you build it. That's the second component of creating vision. Sacred space, and then what am I building? Now, this is a great thing to tag onto the end of your origin story. If you go back and you watch the video blog I did back in December about Lead with Story, right? I talked about developing your origin story or your backstory, where you've been, where you are now. This is what I'm building, help me build it, right? In 8 to 10 minutes, you can nail it. We know who you are, where you've been, where you are now, and where you're going, and we can locate ourselves in your story and be part of that vision, right? But this is what I'm building, help me build it, as the second part of vision. And then the final piece I'd like you to think about, who are the champions who can help you achieve that vision, right? Who are the people with resources, money, authority, knowledge, access to other influencers, who can be part of this, who could locate themselves as the heroes in this journey and help you as the guide build that? List those people out, right? You'll be surprised the number of people who will help come to your aid and achieve that vision. Sacred space. This is what I'm building, help me build it. And the champions who can come to your aid and swing the big stick to achieve that vision. You do those three things, you're off to the right start for mindset. I'll see you on the rooftop.